Last year, we got to meet Mr. Richards when he stopped by the booth to talk to us. And you are still 911 Communications Director
Yes.
for ESU 13.
13, that's right. It's always nice to be with Mike and Mike.
So, are you having a good time at this conference?
This seems like every conference is better. In just a variety of areas. The speakers, the breakout sessions just have more meat. Our board, we have 5 from our board, and then we have 3 staff that are with us this time. We're making presentations, and everybody goes out to the different breakouts, and we just find different nuggets all around the conference, and we take those back to Nebraska. Like you were just saying, we don't keep them under a little bushel basket. We share the things that work well with us, with others, and if we find some things that don't work really that good in the scheme of things, we'll let them know that idea looked good on the paper towel, but when we tried to implement it, it did not work as well as we hoped it would.
Yeah. I think is your director, he will be president next year.
Jeff West is president-elect here for 2016. He'll be presiding at the luncheon today, so he'll get some exposure with that. And then there's that passive issue of the baton, is thrown across the stage. So he'll be impaled later on towards the end of the week. So 2017, Dr. Jeff West will be the president for AESA.
Well, I want to go back to something you had mentioned, because I think it's vital anytime that you're at a conference where you are allowed to share the struggles, the areas where you tried something and it didn't work, or you are trying something and it's not working, and so you're able to collaborate with like-minded folks and say, okay, what are we missing? What do you see that we don't see? And I think that's a very key piece to not just the conference and the group in general, but I think that's a key piece to anything that we're doing is getting that feedback.
That's true, because something that worked well in Indiana or Texas or name any of the states and districts and things won't always work in Wyoming or Colorado or Ohio.
Yes.
And so we'll take off and we'll go back and, man, this is a hot deal, man. Illinois is really excited about long distance cards with minutes you can buy.
Yeah.
And on paper it looked pretty good, but it just didn't work well.
Right.
It lasted about 4 days.
Yeah.
And we tried. And if you're not trying, you're just not trying.
Sure.
You got to stretch a little bit to see where the growth is going to be. But as you were saying, Dave, there's going to be some split lips. You're going to get a bloody nose. You'll have a boo-boo along the way, and share that with the rest of them too. Don't be out buying school buses every year.
Right.
But you don't want to drive the lug nuts off of them either. Because there's a host of issues with that on safety and resale and whatnot you can do with them. So there's a decorum, if you want to call it that, on being good stewards.
Sure.
It's not an inexpensive event to run a school district or to run an ESU or a service unit or a service agency. So you want to spend the money wisely, get a good return on that, and then keep growing with that.
Right.
And we get those issues of that phrase, the unfunded state mandates.
Right. Yes.
Thou shalt do these things.
That's right.
On your own.
Yes,
but
exactly.
Holy cow. So, we learn to work around, and we get pretty creative on things.
Yeah.
And sometimes getting the program going is one thing, and sustaining it is a whole nother ball game with that.
Yeah, absolutely. So specific to the work that you do, your 911 emergency management, disaster recovery planning, that type of thing. What are some of the things that have kind of moved to the forefront in that arena as of late?
Would you restate the question, please?
I can.
I didn't.
We have in Arkansas, we have a new thing called the RAVE 911.
Yes, RAVE Mobility,
Yeah, we use it as a statewide piece. In fact, the app is on my phone because I'm the technology coordinator, so, I'm there with the superintendent and the rest. And it's interesting. The cooperative, we use educational cooperatives. The cooperative really doesn't have an overseeing ability with that. It's mostly the schools, but you're the communications director, so you probably have a little more thumb on the pulse of what's happening in each of your districts.
You know those comment cards. Do you recommend? Do you make the final decision?
Yes,
Do you influence what
yes.
it is? Well, I throw in my 18 cents worth on a lot of things.
Yeah.
There's a committee, and a board, that makes the final decision on things. But they'll ask, as I say, people who are smarter in the room with that. So we would defer, to Jeff and people like him on, what's your opinion of this vendor as compared to that vendor and whatnot. And for a long time, our area was with Code Red, and neat deal 7 years ago.
Yeah.
Technology has moved, whatnot. It's still a good program, but it is cumbersome to operate and whatnot. And I liked a philosophy that I've had for years, because I used to be a cop till I retired. I want to keep things as simple enough that a cop could do it. And I say that in the most respectful kind of way, because if you're going to sit down at a console and they're going to look at all this real estate and all these icons and stuff, push that icon and start talking.
Yeah.
We'll do all the magic in the back room. We'll take care of all those other things for you. And that Rave Mobility product is excellent. Site licensing, unlimited messages. I mean, there's just some neat things with that. So we're doing a larger RFP on that to include schools, hospitals, factories, cities, villages, and whatnot in that, so that we can do that. So in addition to the traditional hazardous materials response team, SWAT, bombs, and all that stuff, we got the sewer guys, we got the electric department, with a cap code on there, so that all we have to do is post that button once, and then we can deploy a variety of assets to, the broken water main, downtown by the movie theater, or there's a gas leak, at the movie theater, or the school, or the gas station, or the swimming pool. So that aspect is really great. And what I do between my office and coming to conferences like this, I bring those, thought processes here, and then I turn around and I bring these thought processes at AESA. I take it right straight back to Nebraska, because there are excellent disciplines that really complement each other.
Because you know exactly what you said about cops. The cops have a lot on their minds. The moment they're on duty, there's 1,000 directions to look. And it needs to be simple, to the point, push the icon. Same thing goes for teachers.
Teachers are great,
I'm just saying that it has to be simple. They're herding cats. First grade teacher, herding cats. There's 25 kids in there.
Very true.
And they need to be able to boom, boom, boom. And thinking about the Rave app, that thing is beautiful. We were impressed with, geo-fence off our campuses. So if anyone makes a 911 call inside our area, our local county sheriff and our police department let us know immediately, our co-op, and say, hey, a 911 call for this was made inside your area. Is this you? Is this part of it? It's a lovely thing. And that's this thing we were just talking to Dr. Kelly Gillespie about, the observation piece they built at her ESA, and how it's customizable, and it's very easy for the teachers to use and the administrators to use. And that's the kind of stuff you take back and go, hey, this works in education. Let's try it here, because this is going to get our folks to the spot much quicker for disaster recovery, for anything that we need. And you're right, it goes hand in hand. You can learn stuff at both places.
Both places. It's a good value for us. It is an expensive event. But you look at that return with whether we have 15 of our people here with us this time. There's a few spouses that came along. So we got 15 people here with a very diverse backgrounds. Farming, ranching, engineers, teachers, old retired cops. I'm trying to think what else we got in the group. We've got a guy who's a professional landscaper and whatnot. So we open up that book and we're looking at these things. Well, there's very few where we're sitting in the same room with our people. Because we're at different breakout sessions, because there's something of interest that hit that button. So our board, at our next regular board meeting, which will be coming up this month in December already. It's already December. We all give reports on the sessions we went to and highlights and the good things that we saw. And it helps us with accountability and things because of the investment. Plus, we also bring back so many golden things that we can apply into our district. our particular unit is the largest one in the state of Nebraska,
Oh,
geographically speaking.
Okay.
We are the Panhandle. Take all Nebraska, and you got that little thing that juts out on the west side. Snap your chalk string on that. That's our service unit area.
Okay.
Population density is not there. There's more cattle. There's one person for every 4 or 5 head of cattle. You start going east, and you see the density shifting, and you get back into the Omaha, Lincoln, Holdridge area. That's where the density is. So, to say we're the largest, well, you have to. What do you mean by large?
Right.
Square miles, dirt, that type of thing. We're the largest one. We just don't have the people like they have back in the eastern part of the state. So with that comes different challenges.
Right.
Kids are kids, students are students, English, math, and arts and science and those things like that. But we got to drive an hour and a half to get to them for the therapists, counselors, all the programmings, the autistic kids, all the things that are taking place in the classroom, including food services, the Medicare, all those things that are in that. So we ruin cars. At our service.
Sounds like you need an airport and some C-130s and a couple of helicopters.
I'll mention that in my meeting. I'll say, here's what Jeff said when we were at Savannah. We'll see how that fits into the budget. And we're very creative. It's just an excellent staff to work with, as they all are.
Sure.
I have a little bias toward mine, but we just took a little over a year ago. We took over the Head Start grant for our part of the state. So when I signed that document, we doubled our employees.
Oh, wow.
I mean, doubled.
Wow.
We were like at 81, now we're like at 157. Yeah, somewhere like that on that day. And there's been some attrition and some shifting with that. Some people said, I'll go ahead and retire now. So some of those things just naturally passed. But it grew really quick.
Wow,
so now with the Head Start thing, which was an excellent overlay into what we were already doing for the preschool, early Head Start and whatnot, it was just a natural thing for us to take that over because they were dying. They were going out of business. Their original grants, had changed and shifted. There were state things that applied into that. So we got it. Well, we need about 3 more cars, So we have quite a fleet that we keep at our corporate offices there in Scottsbluff. And then we have our satellites in Chadron and Sydney and Alliance and whatnot. So there's just a lot of driving. There's a lot of windshield time to get to people.
Sure. But there are a lot of educational service agencies in that part of the country that have the same problems you guys do. Not problems, but they have a lot of driving and a lot of land to cover to get to where they need to get to. And so that's interesting. That's what this kind of organization's here for, because you get to meet those people and find out, that's a great idea. We didn't think of that. That's C-130s in an airport. I'm just telling you.
Well, there's heavy lifting.
Please put my name at the bottom of that.
There's working hard and there's working smart.
That's right.
A thing that you would enjoy this afternoon, if you're not on the air, we will be coming into the conference this afternoon after the luncheon thing from our distance learning to show them our distance learning thing. So from Scottsbluff, our Jeff will be online showing how the distance learning works from there at one of our sites. And as we build and we help the schools, any classroom, every classroom can DL. Anybody can do it. So if you've got a hired gun coming in and you're paying them $5,000-$10,000 to speak, well, not everybody can hop in a car. Or, teachers get half a day off or something. We can pop them in for an hour and a half, record it, and do things for the weather, for health. It's excellent.
Well, there's some, before you get to that, in terms of some of the services that you guys provide as well, you're talking about a lot of the windshield time for some of the specialists and those type of things. It's very possible, and you guys may have already considered this, but it's possible that you may be able to use some of those remote learning environments to handle some of the observation type stuff, and it may not be what you already have in place. For example, at our Education Service Center, one of the things that our early childhood program has just started kind of experimenting with is using mobile remote systems. We use double robotics.
A la carte.
And here's the and so what they do is we actually will send now. there's definitely the face-to-face, in-person visits before this takes place, and through those visits, if there's a particular situation where maybe you have to have 3 or 4 specialists who all need to observe this at the same time, but they all can't get to that one location, we actually send the robot to that classroom. And again, it didn't have to be a robot. You could stick an iPad on a stand if you wanted to. The robot just works better for the environment we have. They all can sign in with that. They're all at their disparate offices, or they may be actually 100 miles away, 200 miles away at another location working, but for that 15-20 minute observation time, they're all connected at the same time to this robot. It's able to observe, you see what the student's doing, and then they can make their notes, and then they all come together and they meet and they talk about it. So that is what, and in fact, the reason why that was put in place was because windshield time was killing them.
And
so
it's expensive. There's risk.
Right.
I mean, there's a pheasant coming across the road, and you lose a radiator, windshield. You got a person maybe injured for 4 or 5 days.
Right.
The whole remote access.
Right.
Part of that is just incredible. Of course, we do with classes. Calculus.
Sure.
That little rural school cannot afford a calculus 2 person. High school kids now have an opportunity at times to get college credits.
Sure.
While they're finishing up that last year or 2 of high school,
Yeah.
and they can take French.
Right. Exactly.
They can go to the University of X.
Right.
And jump in with them.
Yes.
A student when I was in school way back. If you got horrible sick, you broke your hip, leg, whatever, and you're at home in traction, well, the teacher might come by, or a couple of your peers would come by with a stack of books,
Right.
whatnot, and the overhead projectors like, this is what we did today in school.
Yes.
Well, now you can go to school
Yes.
from your home.
Yes.
That is just amazing.
Yeah, we actually had a girl in our area who ended up with cancer a little over a year ago, and it came on suddenly. It was boom, it was there, and she was in and out of the hospital. And that's what we did. We set up remote telepresence so that she could still attend class, yes, but also be connected to her peers. See her friends and that kind of thing. And it was very. It was a really cool way, from a techie standpoint. It was a very cool way to keep that student involved in the classroom with her classmates. Still keeping in touch without having a whole stack of books delivered, at the hospital bedside, saying, here's your homework.
See, and that was part of our keynote this morning. Number 2 on that list was classroom interaction. So if sitting at home, they might be on the couch in their recliner in bed, whatever the case may be, they can pan that camera around a little bit. And they can see, Olga and, all these kids, and give them a howdy or send them a quick IM, thing or a text and whatnot, and they can keep in touch.
Yes.
And that's part of that healing process too, because if they're isolated, that's icky.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Sorry, rough language here in front of the microphone. I apologize for that.
We'll edit that out later.
Okay.
We'll
Since
beat
you
that
have
later.
some, since you have some pool, you think you could talk to Jeff coming by and seeing us maybe if he gets a chance? If he
Sure.
gets a free one?
Sure.
Especially since he's president-elect, and
I will.
we'll pick his brain and put him in a hard spot.
Pass the message.
There you
Tell
go.
him we'll be really easy on him.
Okay, guys. It's good to see you guys again.
Well, it's
Yes,
very
sir.
good to see you
You too.
again. And before you take off, we have a parting gift for you.
Our
You get
tchotchke
one of
for
our
the,
tchotchkes.
Oh man! Look at that.
Yeah,
So you're official now.
That's
see?
right.
It looks just like you.
Well,
Mine's not quite. We have
I'm
this
actually the one
Photoshop.
on the right. That's what's funny.
Yeah, that's
No.
right.
No, it's great. We appreciate what you guys do, and this is part of everything we were just talking.
Yeah,
This is it.
This is what schools can do and what kids can do. This can get them really excited.
Mm-hmm.
And this is, you find kids that go, hey, I don't have a radio voice, but I love to mix or I love to do this. And there's jobs out there for these kids. And this is
right.
it's a whole nother lifestyle. Yeah.
All they want to do is get those special gloves, have a couple of bags, give me a spool of Cat 6 Enhanced, and get out of my way.
There you go.
That's what they want to do.